Certainly do, and fast. Now, some punters have been left scratching their heads after they were told they'd be turned away for wearing any Aussie flag attire on Australia Day at a local Sydney pub. Now, the Newtown Hotel in Sydney's Inner West sparked controversy after banning all Australian flag attire with this sign. Check it out. We respectfully decline to be part of the 26th of January as the land was not ceded. Today, there is a dress code and that involves no Australian flag attire and accessories. While some punters were outraged, the move received praise from others. Kac, what are your thoughts?
Well, I endorse what they chose to do. They're a commercial operation. If they chose to do that, all power to them. But yet, just another example of someone, whoever owns the pub, trying to rewrite history. History is history. You may not like it, but it is what it is.
I don't know, Kac. The protests are getting louder and they're getting bigger. 5,000 people in Sydney, 5,000 people in Melbourne over the weekend. Lots of people are pulling out of these celebrations because they feel uncomfortable, and I think there needs to be a conversation about...
There is Indigenous Week a whole week during the year. If they were sensible, everybody would get together for one, and two, we should be more involved in the middle of the year for the Indigenous Week. It is history. Every single continent on the globe was colonised. I have nowhere to go. I do not think, and I will not relinquish any more of the country that is considered by me mine.
Can't we have it on the Day of Federation?
This is my country, and that was a very important day. 26th of January is a very important day.
Isn't Federation an even more important day, the day we became an actual country? I mean, we don't even celebrate the Queen's birthday on her actual birthday. Her actual birthday is on the 21st of April.
But why?
And we decide to celebrate it at a day that's convenient to us.
But that's fine. But I'm not going anywhere. I have as much, and I'm entitled to this land as everybody else.
I know, but I think it's the memory, though. It's so associated with genocide that there's so much pain for a portion of the original Australians. And, you know, I do believe that, a unified day where it's not a memory of everything that happened to people's ancestors. It's great that your ancestors and your future, children and grandchildren, everyone that's related to everyone here gets to benefit from this great land. But there is still historically a day of great sadness.
I think everyone needs to learn their history a lot better on both sides. I think the idea, anyone who knows the first thing about history knows that Captain Cook didn't discover Australia, and it's not his discovery that we commemorate on 1788 anyway. It was Arthur Phillip. He did not come here to commit genocide. In fact, he came here with express orders and gave his men express orders that if they harmed any member of the Indigenous population, they would be hanged. So this is not someone who set out to cause harm or set out to invade or conquer.
Yeah. But it happened 100 years ago.
It certainly happened, but it happened more than 200 years ago. And Kac is right. Every single land has been invaded. The British, who invaded Australia, were themselves invaded in the Battle of Hastings in 1066.
But you're just yelling facts at people and saying to lots of people, you're just yelling these facts and going, we shouldn't care because these are the facts.
No, I don't care about this particular date one way or the other. But to get outraged by it, and the reason that I find this particularly nauseating, this is the most ridiculous act of virtue signalling by this pub. I mean, was the land any less invaded?
Not. Oh my God! So you live in this city. You know that Newtown is an Indigenous hub for people. So you've got a huge proportion of the population walking around saying this actually pains us deeply. And personally, do you mind not waving your flags?
The Indigenous population of the Inner West is 1.1%. It's a third of the statewide average.
To sink piss and act full of bravado. Please move the date. That's all the conversation is.
But no, that's not what they're saying.
No colonised country celebrates the day they were colonised as their national day, except
but it is
Australia.
History. I'm at pains. I've learned a lot about my ancestors recently and what they went through when they went, the shocking lives they had, how they got here. It was just awful beyond belief. But they got stuck on a boat, got sent over to this God-forsaken land. And excuse me, I look around Australia now. We have a fabulous country. We have high-rise buildings. We've got 25 million people who are contributing to the society. I don't want to go back to what we were 250 years ago. I wouldn't do well in a humpy.
But I suppose, we seem to be incredibly focused on something that happened nearly 250 years ago and not focusing on the very real problems that we have. Now,
Can't you do both?
Well, you
Can't
can
you
do
move the date
both, but it
and
doesn't seem
do
we're
better?
capable of it. Like the last great symbolic gesture we made, which I also support, was the apology to the stolen generation. On that day, they said, we won't let this happen again. So they started having an annual report of the gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australia. The Closing the Gap report came out every single year on the day of the apology. What did it find? The gap's actually getting worse. The gap in a lot of areas is actually getting wider.
Yeah.
So these symbolic gestures, in fact, have done nothing to improve relations. If this pub, and I'll tell you, the inner west of Sydney is got an Indigenous population in the 2016 census of 1.1%. That is less than a third of the New South Wales average, a third of the Australian average. So if you want to talk about Indigenous versus non-Indigenous, this pub is in the middle of the whitest part, one of the whitest parts of the city. Now, if they want to do something and fix it, they can support the Australian Literacy and Numeracy Foundation, which does amazing work with Adam Goods. They can support the Goods O'Loughlin Foundation. They can put a website there. They can support the Fred Hollows Foundation, and they can actually put their money where their mouth is. Open the books. I'd like to see how much money, how much of this pub's profits go to actually helping Indigenous people on the
they're not
ground.
saying we're better than you guys. They're saying don't be massive arseholes.
Yeah.
But you can be a massive arsehole every other day of the year. You can celebrate invasion and colonisation on every other day of the year. You can walk in with your
But the flag
Australian
doesn't
flag,
necessarily
just not on that
depict
day.
invasion.
Okay, what about the
colonisation.
5,000 people who went through the streets making their point known? Has any single one of those 5,000 people waving the flags saying how inappropriate the day is, has any one of them been out to the outback where children, babies, 5-year-olds are being raped, their mothers are being raped, their sisters are being raped, they get no education? What have you done?
I'm sure
Zippo.
that is not even faintly true, Kerry, and you're sounding quite racist right now.
I'm offended by that, Yumi.
Well, keep going then, because every time you open your mouth, you're sounding racist.
I am seriously offended by that, Yumi.
Okay.
Look, I think
Seriously
this...
offended. To tell me, OK, my question was how many of those people have gone out?
I bet a lot of them have.
Well, I'd like to know. Do you know? Do you have any proof? And they're walking through the streets.
And
has
the
any of them
implication
gone
is,
to
Kerry-Anne,
help?
that women aren't being raped here in big cities.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
and children aren't being raped here in big cities.
As what Joe just said, was the report that came out when these people need desperately help. It is most of the Aboriginal elder women who are just desperate for help, and they're not getting it. Where are these people on one day of the year want to make... You'd be better off going actually doing something positive.
Look, I think this is a topic that really, it really fires people up, and I think mostly everyone has their hearts in the right place and everyone wants to do the right thing. So let's just take it back a notch. Everything's going to be cool.
Just because I have a point of view, Yumi, doesn't mean I'm racist.
Yeah, you're actually connecting rape, child abuse.
Now, I'm asking
you're drawing a straight line.
If any one of these people who feel so strongly about this have ever done anything
and you're also, by that statement, you're also implying that those 5,000 protesters, none of whom you know personally, are all lazy and idle and indolent.
I did not say that.
Yes, because you're asking me. Yeah, you're asking me if any of them have ever done anything, as though it's clear that they haven't.
No, don't draw a line that isn't there.
That's the line. I see it quite clearly.
Yeah, well, get new glasses.
Yeah. Oh, come on. No. This is both of you ladies. It's not a paddle for name calling. We're all educated people here. We all have our very passionate point of view.
We are grown up enough.
We are.
This is just an issue that Yumi and I clearly have.
Of course.
There are probably 20 other things that we do agree on.
Yes.
This is just one that we clearly don't.
Well, let's move on that note. And it seems like kids are online before they can properly walk or even talk. So to cut the risks and stop cyberbullying in later years, should kids have to sit for a digital licence test before being allowed online at school? It's our daily dilemma. Let us know what you think on our Facebook page and we'll feature some of the best comments on the telly a little later. Now,